respect should be agreed, and that Enbridge and all of those players just aren't relevant to this process. We're here to discuss about the benefits to the coast and how that will help the environment, the communities, the ecology, everything.
Yes. There was also some discussion around the process in terms of engaging people. And I think it's widely recognized in our group that people didn't have enough time to absorb the information that's provided tonight, that it's a bit sudden, that perhaps things should be sent at least a month in advance, that there's maybe ways to reach people in the community here, for instance, to maybe send this up to the Chamber of Commerce, make sure it's posted on the boards down at the we need to provide at least a month in advance. We need to provide other opportunities to access the documents. So not just the internet. I mean, it's very apparent that the internet is not available in a lot of places here, so we need to look further at those. So mail or something. That's about the size of it. Anyone have anything else to do?
I can say something. Can I talk about that? Just a general comment is that it's very hard for people to talk about the process and separate it from the issues. So I think that's one of the major things that you guys are going to have to overcome, is that it's really difficult to say how are we going to have a working relationship without getting passionate about talking about these things that affect all of our livelihoods. I have to say with that.
How are these comments and her very pertinent comment going to be reflected back? Like, I mean, how are you going to interpret those, or who's going to interpret the results of this meeting and then transliterate it into something that goes on the internet? Or you're going to post something that says, in Shearwater, the people came out and this is what they said? I mean,
behind you there, Hillary is taking notes diligently about all the things that are being said. And so there will be...
Are you?
And there's a videotape.
That we put forward in the videotape.
Will there be comments, like in case that there was some misinterpretation, or people able to put in and say, oh, but by the way, you missed out this part and stuff?
You can.
But the comments will appear on the website? Like, is there actually a comment period after your analysis of the meetings?
Not on the information, but if you are reading the document and you see that there's something incorrect about what you said, if you say no, we'll correct that.
Why not have a public comment? Like, if you're going to describe the meeting that these points were covered and that sort of thing, why not have just a public comment where you can have the whole chain? I mean, it's nothing new in the internet technology. Everybody does it. Why not have a live comment period?
How long would you suggest would be a good?
Well, all your timelines, like you came out here and said, okay, here's all the information. You got 10 days till cutoff, till feedback. Like, 10 days, like all of a sudden, like this is just sort of boom, this big package of information, and then we're supposed to think about this for 10 days, get back and diligently submit all this by the cutoff date. I mean, that's...
But this is just the very beginning.
Yeah.
You should be able to handle that.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say, after they finish editing you on this videotape, you're going to be a hero.
Well, I'm really glad that you have to make it personal, Steve,
It wasn't personal.
Am I supposed to shut up or something because you
No, not at all.
like
Don't
what I have
take
to
it
say
that
or
way.
something?
If you
Or
want
what?
to, then whatever you like. Yeah.
Right.
We're the free radicals.
Okay. Do you think that your suggestion of having a comment period on the when thought at, they're trying to be as transparent as
Well,
possible.
that's going to be from bottom up, and that's a lot of the suggestions here is make it bottom up. Then our comments need to be visible, and it's got to be a live document. People can say, hey, wait a minute, you guys missed this point.
Sure. Okay. Good suggestion. So next steps. That kind of leads into next steps.
There was a couple more.
Oh, sorry.
Questions.
I was just curious, like the document that you produce, will we get to see it on the web, or is it something that we can have sent to us and it can be posted on the bulletin board? Or, I mean, because things do change.
I think both are possible. Yeah.
So you're asking for a record of this meeting to be sent to you?
No, I'm asking like the recommendations, because that's the key thing at the end. Like you're going to take all this information and it's going to be like what was discussed, or this is the outcome from the meeting at Shearwater.
Yeah.
So do we get to see that before it kind of goes public? Or is it something that just goes public? Because sometimes things can change when they're, you know, I don't know, just the emphasis or the balance, or it's just curious how it's
Well,
fed back to us.
if you step back for a second, what's happening is there's 9 of these meetings, right? And there's some common themes emerging, certainly. And so after it's all done, the planning office will take all of it, plus the others, the individual stakeholder group consultations that they've done, put it together and try and figure out how to come up with an effective engagement strategy, recognizing what people have said. The record of this meeting and things that you've said has been recorded on the videotape, as well as hopefully accurate, detailed notes, which you can comment on online. You know, that's possible. And the extent to which there has to be reconciliation between what different communities are saying is kind of hard to say right now. But so far, you know, based on what we've heard, there hasn't been a glaring problem in terms of what the 6 communities have been saying. They're saying it in different ways, but the general direction is pretty consistent. So the results of this meeting, if they're factually incorrect, you can correct them. But they're going to have to be put together with the results of the other 8 meetings. And then the planning office and the steering committee is going to have to figure out, okay, so now what are we actually going to be able to do? You know, what can we afford to do given what everybody said, and what are we going to do? And that's what they'll implement. Go ahead.
Or what you...
What
you're asking.
So you can get a written hard copy in your hands, no problem, and you can make comments online.
Just that in some instances you're going into larger communities, maybe say you've got Vancouver, which their interests are very different to the people that are living here on the Central Coast, and maybe you've got more of a critical mass of people that are going to show up to a meeting maybe in Vancouver. And it's like, how do you decide when you gather all that information together? You know, you might have heard more people in Vancouver say one thing than, you know, like what becomes a priority, and how do you balance that with, you know, the people, the stakeholders are actually living, you know, small communities all along the coast. And who makes those decisions about where that balance is, you know?
So, we had a bit of this discussion in our group, and I can recount what I responded with. I think there's a few questions in there. So one is, how do you take and sort of reconcile all the different things that have occurred in different places? And I think we did, what I said was, there is part of it that's about things that we heard a lot of. That's going to influence the choices we make. But then there also needs to be room in that to account for if you know, maybe we're hearing a lot of it all in one place and we didn't hear it anywhere else. So on top, or in addition to thinking about how often we heard something, we also want to think about what did different places say. So there's a couple of criteria that are going to inform how we move forward. Now, in terms of who makes the decision about how to move forward, those are discussions that happen between the planning office and the steering committee as the bodies that are sort of vested with the responsibility to implement this and move it forward, and trying to synthesize what we've heard out of these different meetings. And then moving forward from there, once you've got an advisory committee formed, they're part of that dialogue as well. So this is part of our interest in getting that advisory committee together, so that we have a group that can be a part of these kinds of discussions in an ongoing way.
Okay, other questions? How about, Steve just whispered into my ear to remind me to make sure that I opened it up for any sort of final comments or questions.
I have one. Has everybody signed the sign-in sheet? Because we want to make sure we have a way to be in touch with you. So if